wanted to just kind of tell my story a little bit and how I got to where I am today, and the two things that I wanted to focus on that have gotten me where I am today are hard work and character. Grew up in Arizona, was a basketball player, ran track, and played football in high school. And you know, as a junior, really thought, okay, I want to play college football. That's what I want to do. Nobody really wanted me. So as a senior, you know, I worked hard that off season, just like I always had. As a senior, I thought if I had a good year, maybe I'd have some great opportunities to go play. I wanted to go to Arizona State and play, maybe the University of Arizona, Notre Dame, Stanford, you know, all those big time schools that were sort of near me. And I didn't get the opportunity to do that. I was told no. I was told I was too small, not good enough. And there was one school, a Division I AA school named Eastern Washington, that was the only school that offered me. And for me, no didn't mean slamming the door on my dream. No meant that I had to work harder. And you know, that's when I realized that I had to use no as motivation rather than as something that was going to bring me down. And so I ended up deciding to go to Harvard. Now, Harvard's not a football factory. You know, there's not a lot of NFL players that come out of Harvard. You know, the reason that I decided to go there is I wanted to continue to play football because I love the game, but academics were always a huge part of my life as well. And I felt like that was the best situation for me in terms of academically setting myself up for the rest of my life, and also being able to pursue my goals and dreams on the football field. And I got there, you know, going to Harvard, I made that decision not because that was the fast track to the NFL for me, because obviously, you know, if you want to go to the NFL, sure, they'll find you if you're good enough, but Harvard's probably not your number one choice to go there. But I went there. I did the best that I could in the classroom. I was challenged every day. You know, I made it a point. There's a lot of smart people there, and you know, it's a very challenging environment, especially in the classroom. And so one of my goals was no C's. You know, I wanted to go there and get all A's, but sometimes that's just not possible because there are a lot of smart people in this world. And so I went, I did the best that I could. There was a lot of time management and skills like that I had to learn while I was there, being an athlete and then a student first, and was able to get through that without any C's, carried a good grade point average. And on the football side of things, I played a little bit my freshman year, a little bit more my sophomore year, and then became the starter my junior year. You know, really with the goal in mind of trying to win a championship at Harvard, you know, trying to become the best player in the Ivy League, all those team and individual goals that I set. And every offseason, it was the work in the weight room that I did. It was the leadership and getting the guys together. It was just my mental makeup, which has always been, I'm not the most talented guy, but I'm a guy that's going to be able to outwork everybody. That's kind of what's gotten me to where I am today. And so I kept that throughout college, you know, outwork everybody, whether it's the guys that are on my team, because the harder you work, the harder they see you doing what you're doing, that's the harder everybody else is going to work too. They're going to try to rise up to your level and trying to work harder than everybody else in the Ivy League that we are competing against. And so after my junior year, I mean, I played football because I loved it. I wanted to be in the NFL, but didn't think that it was a possibility. I was very realistic about it too. And so after my junior year, I started getting contacted by some agents, and they would say, you know, I think you might have a chance to get drafted. You know, we'd love to represent you, all that stuff, which hopefully you guys have the opportunity to deal with agents, but they're kind of slimy too. So, but then that was the first time that I thought I had a realistic possibility, at least getting an opportunity to get in a camp. I thought that would be such a cool thing, to be able to just put on an NFL jersey and say I was in a training camp. Senior year rolled around. There was a little bit more interest from all the NFL teams and was able to go to the combine. Got drafted in the 7th round, 250th pick, and even from the time I was drafted, even though that was such a great moment in my life, to be able to say that I was a draft pick. But then I went to St. Louis and it started all over again. He's came from a small school. He's not good enough. He's too small. All the same things I heard when I was coming out of high school. It's the same stuff in the NFL in terms of why I wasn't going to be able to make it. So being able to take all the negative stuff and all the naysayers and internalize that for me and to allow me to use that as motivation to become a better player, that's what's gotten me to where I am. In St. Louis, I was able to play a little bit, and I was traded to Cincinnati. That's kind of where I got my big break in terms of my second year that I was there, which was my 4th year in the league. Carson Palmer got hurt and was able to start 12 games, and that's really, where all my hard work. I didn't have a great season in terms of stats, or it didn't make the Pro Bowl, any of that stuff. But in terms of me elevating my game and taking it to another level, that was the first year for me that I felt like I was really able to do that. And so the next offseason I signed with the Bills, and I've been here since '09. This has been such a great place for me. I think the biggest thing is I've been provided an opportunity. Coach Gailey has been wonderful with that, and I think that's one of the reasons when you look at our team right now, you see all kinds of guys that weren't first-round picks. They weren't guys that are getting required in these huge trades. If you look at me, a 7th-round pick, Stevie Johnson, a 7th-round pick that nobody wanted, Fred Jackson, a guy that was playing indoor football and making $5 a game or whatever it was, just playing for the love of the game. You've got so many guys that have been provided an opportunity, and that's why I feel like we really bonded here over that, because we've all had to work so much harder than everybody else. Talent is one thing, but outworking people and getting to where you are because you want it more than people, that's another thing, and that's something we've been able to bond over. The only other thing I want to touch on, and maybe we'll open up the floor for some questions if you guys want to ask anything about football or personal life or any of that. Something that I was told at a young age. My mom was a school teacher, and she had 50 different signs in her room of sayings and things, and you always see the quotes as you go through school. But one that has always stuck with me is about character, and it says character is doing what's right when nobody's looking. And that's been something that's been big for me in my life. And now as a father, being able to teach my sons that you guys are entering an interesting stage in your lives where you're going to be given a lot of freedom as you graduate high school and go off to college. And what kind of man or woman do you want to be? There's nobody that's going to know you better than yourself. All the decisions that you make, all the choices, tough choices that you're going to face, whether it's going to class, what you're doing on Friday, Saturday night, there's going to be all kinds of stuff, all kinds of decisions and freedoms that you're given that you haven't had in your lives before. Just remember that quote. Just remember, it's not about, your parents aren't there so they don't know what's going on. You know what's going on. You are the person that is in charge of your life, and you've got to look yourself in the mirror every day and make sure that you're making the right choices. Character, doing what's right when nobody's looking. I think that is something that stuck with me, that is an important little quote there.